Hey, what's up guys? I'm back again with a surprisingly soon video considering when I released the last one, am I right? But what I'm going to focus on today is a few IEMs that I think are in a pretty competitive spot in terms of price point in the Chi-Fi market right now. I think that it might be the best bang for your buck because going up to the $100 range can be a risk. However, you know, if you spend half of that or a little less than half of that, you're less likely to feel shitty and guilty about buying something that your ears don't approve. So we're talking about the $30 to $40 range, and by far the most popular, blows them all away in terms of popularity. This has been reviewed on, you know, every YouTube site and including my own, and basically everywhere, every headphone site on the internet, more or less, and that's the TIN T2, you know, which is incredibly well made. It's well constructed. It's a really interesting design because you can wear them down and you can wear them around your ear, and that design element makes them a pretty malleable set, and that is something that, you know, cannot be discounted. If you're the type of person that doesn't like over ears IEMs, then this is, you know, this is the one you buy. That's just flat out it. You know, they sound great. It's a double dynamic driver in this thing, and they've come up with a couple of other models that, you know, depending on who you ask, may or may not be providing you a huge improvement in sound. There's the TIN 3, which is more expensive, but potentially not necessarily better, depending, again, on who you ask. You know, Z reviewed it on his site and said, or on his YouTube channel, and said, you know, I think he preferred the TIN 2 potentially. But again, that has to do with slight adjustments to treble response and things like that that can rub people the wrong way. People are very sensitive to treble. So, all right. So this is the TIN 2. A little bit about the sound. These sound wonderful. They've got good treble extension without being overextended. They have you know, an airier type of sound. No veil over the sound. They never sound muffled. The mid bass in particular is really well tuned. So they're not going to give you any sort of bloom in the mid-range, and they have just a top, you know, end-to-end almost perfect tuning at this or really any price point. So it's probably unfair to pigeonhole them into the $30 range. Often you can find them on sale for cheap, maybe even under $30. You know, for every sale that AliExpress has and so forth. They come with a nice cable. They don't come with a table that has only improved in terms of the quality of cables that TIN is packaging with their IEMs now. But as you can see, it's quite nice, and I've had no problems with it. Who was it? Hawaii Bad Boy on his channel said he had a problem with his cable and it broke on him or whatever, but mine has been pretty solid, and maybe that was an outlier. Anyways, I like this IEM, I really do, and I do use it often. It's the type of thing that's smaller and you can fit in your pocket. That's the nice thing about this design element as well. These are a little bit smaller than your typical IEM. So, you know, nothing bad to say about it, really. It's a great IEM. Another one that I've had for a few months and was sent to me by Jim at Nicehck to review. And this is Nicehck is a brand now, but they are also an AliExpress store, so it's easy to get that a little bit mixed up. But they've released a few models. I want to say that they've been working with BGVP. However, they don't disclose the information on who they work with. I think that that's fair, you know. But they have the Nicehck Bro, which I want to say is tuned by BGVP, but I don't know for 100% certainty, so I can't say it for sure. which is a brighter IEM. So the Bro is brighter. It's got great treble extension, but can be a little bit sibilant. And then they have another Nicehck model, which I can't remember the name of right now. It doesn't have a removable cable, and it is a warmer, darker sound, which is nice and natural. And this one is the P3, which sits in that $30 range, 25 to 35, let's say USD, depending on sales and so forth and coupons. And it's a single balanced, I think, in the nozzle, and then a dynamic. So it has that clarity and extension that you might expect from a balance to handle the upper ranges, and then it has the dynamic kicking in for lower, bass extension and so forth. Really beautiful looking IEM, especially for the price point. Little bit unusual, well, not so much anymore because people are turning back to MMCX connectors. And I've heard recently that people have had problems with 2-pins. I have never had a problem with 2-pins. I've had more problems with the MMCX connectors. And it really doesn't have to do with the cable usually. It's usually the implementation in the actual IEM that fails me, or isn't secure enough so the things fall out and you lose your IEMs and all sorts of shit happens. But this is actually a pretty secure MMCX connection. The cable that's packaged with this thing is really beautiful. It's sort of what's trending right now with cables is the twist, rather than sort of a tight braid like you would typically see. They're doing a twist now. This thing is really soft and supple, and it has a little, you can barely see it, like a small sheath around the ear to provide a little bit more protection, I suppose. And this is a breaking point on these things, so, and maybe it improves the comfort a little bit. But this cable is wonderful. It's one of the nicer cables that I've seen in this price point. The sound, so it's tuned a little bit darker, so it's going to have just ever so slight veil, more of a Sennheiser house sound than the sort of Beyer dynamic sound that you may think that the tin is sort of geared towards. So the tin and the Bqeyz KC2, which I'm going to talk about in a second, are a little bit brighter sounding. This guy is a little bit darker. So if you're treble sensitive, if you have issues where you potentially don't like any sibilance on any recordings, because newer recordings are poorer quality recordings in some cases. Sound engineers have gone the way of the dodo, so there can be sibilance and the recording can be of lesser quality, and that will be sort of masked a little bit by this is a more forgiving IEM in that regard. It has a nice sort of airiness to the Soundstage, but it's like, again, a slight veil to it. It's got good mid bass hump kind of thing. Not much of a bleed, but just a slight bleed in the mid range. I think they're well tuned, and again, they're going to be targeting a person who is what am I doing here? I'm messing with my camera a little bit. I'm trying to fix this. What is going on? My God. There we go. Anyways, cameras. What are you going to do? Oh, I wish... Okay, there we go. Where was I? So it's going to be more of a Sennheiser house sound than the sort of... The way I look at IEMs and earphones, headphones in general, is you have Beyer Dynamics and you have Sennheisers. And Sennies are... Sennies have a bit more of a natural sound in my mind. This is how I group things when I'm first listening to them. I'm like, is this a Senny or is this a Beyer? And Sennies have a bit more natural sound. And for me, the Beyer is a little bit brighter, a little bit crisper, maybe more clarity. So this is in the Senny category rather than the Beyer category. But that's just me. That's how I think of things in my mind. Yeah, so I mean, hey, great. I don't think you'd be disappointed with all three of these. but, you know, in some ways I'm saving the best for last, or my preference for last. The Bqeyz KC2, to me, is my personal favorite. It has a level of airiness, and it's up a level or two from most other things. Everything that I've heard under $50 so far, and to me is the best in class for Chi-Fi under 50. I think they're better than the Tin Audio T2, which gets all the accolades. But to me, the Bqeyz KC2 is the best tuning I've heard. Clarity, extension, mid-bass, but not too much, no bleed, great soundstage, incredible positioning, imaging is spot on, everything you could possibly want. The only problem with these guys is they're a rather unusual fit. So there's something, this sort of section here can weigh on your inner ear. And after time, and they are a little bit heavy, but this section here can be bothersome. So, I mean, that's something that's just sort of a forewarning for you if you're considering buying one of these guys. So I think that they're definitely the best sounding, potentially the worst fitting, unfortunately. And, you know, just a really, really wonderful IM for under, well, I think you can get them for between 35 and 40, right? So, hey, you know, that's it. I wanted to talk about all three. This is, by the way, in case you were wondering, a cable that's done by Venture Electronics. If you're ever looking for cables, it's not an advertisement. I don't get any money for this. And this is actually a connector, 3.5 to 3.5 from Venture as well. But veclan.com, and you can find cables for over-ears, IEMs, and they're great quality, and they're really cool. And they're cheap. So if you like those things, and most people do, cheap, good quality items, then head over to veclan.com. Just a quick plug for them, because I like VE, Venture Electronics. And that's it, man. That's it for now. Just wanted to chime in, make another video, stay active, you know. I can get in the mode where I'm so busy with my new job that I can't be active all the time. But thanks for watching again. I'll try to come back more often. I have other things that I want to get reviewed. So this is it for now. I wanted to get the Nicehck talked about a little bit on the channel because Jim was nice enough to send these out months ago, and I never got around to it yet. So really good IM and worth your consideration. Anyways, cheers. Peace.